Robert Brandt and Kurt Geist are bringing you the Bald Headed Construction guidelines video for window house wrap installation of our Dow products today. Robert is our resident expert, and we are going to walk through the instructions that come with every one of our Dow products and help you understand how you can earn the total system warranty.
Okay, Kirk, let's move on. First of all, install the house wrap. Very easy, 12-inch on center, white crown staple is adequate. You can also use the plastic cap. You can 16-inch on center, that's fine at that point. Nice part about Weathermate Plus is, as you can see through this product versus some of our competitors, you'll be able to find your window openings, all that kind of wonderful stuff. When you overlap, we've got one solid sheet here, but if we were to overlap, you're going to want about 6 inches of overlap, and remember, always keep the shingle idea in mind. So always go over the top, 6 inches, whether it's a horizontal seam or a vertical seam, 6-inch overlap.
I think, Robert, we want to point out also that the guidelines tell us that at the bottom plate, after we cover the rim joist, we need to have a minimum of 1 inch hanging down, if you will. And at the top edge, on our top plates, we want to make sure that the house wrap goes up and over the top plate, so there's no point of entry for water to come down on the inside of this wall.
Last thing you're going to want to do is house wrap this house and end up with a funnel at the top of your wall that's going to funnel in water. You'd be surprised how much just a little gap, whether it's in a seam or at the top of the wall, is just going to funnel water in behind your house wrap, and that looks pretty ugly. So let's get on to the cutting the window opening. We've got a window opening in here. This is going to be a round top window opening. I'm going to show you both for round top and square top. I can do it both on the same sample here. The first thing you want to do is cut straight across the top. So find the top of your window, go straight across. Very simply. Now come down the center. And you're going to want to stop about 6 inches or 8 inches above your windowsill. And then simply cut straight to the corners. If you look at that design, that looks a little bit like an upside down martini glass, so hopefully you'll be able to remember that. Quite simply, if you were to do a square window, you're going to wrap in these sides and staple them in place.
Is there any hard and fast rule on when you trim those, Robert, as far as how much material you leave?
No. What you want to do is cover as much of the jam as is reasonable, and keep it out of the way of everything else.
Gotcha.
You can go all the way back in around, but you just want to cover up as much as you can.
Gotcha.
With this, what you'll notice, what you gain by wrapping this around, is there's a seam between your sheathing and your jam. In that seam is a potential entry point for water into the wall cavity. That's what we want to avoid. So by folding this over, rather than just cutting it out square, you've added one extra step of protection. Same on your sill. You've covered this seam between your sheathing and your sill plate. But as you notice, we've got a huge problem right here. This is where you're going to see most of the problems when you have water damage due to poor window installation. You're going to find big mustaches, as we like to call them, of rotting sheathing if the house wrap isn't installed properly and you haven't installed your window properly. We've got a big exposure right here. For the top of the window, you're not going to want to just install that window with the nail flange on top of the house wrap, because then now you're reverse shingled. You're going to get water behind that nail flange, potentially get water into the wall cavity. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut at about a 45-degree angle, about 6 inches out. This allows us, if it was a square window, just to fold this up, install the window, nail flange, put this out, down, back over the top. Since we're at a round top, we're going to have to add a vertical cut. And we want to make sure it's tall enough to be able to slip that
All the way at the top side of the radius, right?
Yep, top side of the radius and a little bit farther, because you're going to want to overlap just a little bit over the nail flange.
As we move along, Robert will indeed tell you the differences between if you are OSB sheathing all the entire field, or if you have foam sheathing on the entire field. There are several subtle differences, but the shingle effect is still the driving factor.
Very simple, exactly. So now we've got a rough opening opened up. First place, we start at the bottom, work our way up. That's shingle fashion, right? So we're going to start with our sill pan. This is going to take care of any concern we have on our sill. This corner plate, this weakness right here, is going to be taken care of by your sill pan. This also ultimately is your safety, because anything gets into that wall cavity, if you've done your sill pan correctly, properly, it's going to take care of any kinds of issues that you might have above the window with the window install. This is going to take care of it. So this is really critical, guys. You've got to get this done. Get it done right. It's simple, but by doing it right, you're going to save on callbacks, all that kind of stuff.
Is a tilted sill preferred, or is it mandatory, or what's the general feeling there?
Right, not mandatory. It is a good building practice. And the nice part about Dow's sill pans is it does work with a tilted sill as well as a flat sill. It's not necessary to have a tilted sill because we have a back dam built into our sill pan. I'll show that to you in just a minute. But if you did tilt them, that'd be great.
Gotcha.
The back dam still works properly. Okay, we've got our sill pans here. They're marked quite simply left and right, and they're going to fit in here. Well, this is obviously too big to fit in here. So we're going to simply take, you want to hold that for a second? We're going to take one side, we're going to hold it up, and just take your knife. This is the nice part about Dow's sill pans. You don't need to have saws or anything like that when it comes to modifying anything. The tools that you would typically have on hand are going to work just fine.
Yep. Utility blade.
Yep.
Hammer tacker.
Absolutely. So we put this in place here. Again, we're going to cut off this. It's always good to save these scraps too, because if you were to have a window that was larger than the fully extended sill pan, it's a 5-foot window. Anything larger than a 5-foot window, what you can do is take any of these pieces, spread your sill pans out, and use this piece to bridge between the two pieces if it's larger than a 5-foot window.
Is this sill pan suitable for a door?
No.
Okay.
By industry standards, not at this point. You're going to want something a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
It's going to handle the tread wear a little better than the window pan.
Mm-hmm.
Dow is working on a door pan, actually, as we speak, to get one out, because we've had a lot of requests, particularly for sliding glass doors.
Excellent.
Because that's difficult. So we've got this in. We're going to take our stapler. And again, you guys are going to have better equipment than I have, but there's a little square X that says nail or staple here. You're going to simply, that's all the fastening you need to do right there. Now you're going to want to take and take care of your vulnerabilities. You've got a vulnerability here, here, and here. If we take care of those, again, it's going to take care of all kinds of problems that we might have in the future. So simply peel it off. Stick it down. It's always good to have a little overlap. A little helpful hint along here. We've pre-peeled these to keep things moving, but one of the things that with Dow's, we've got a real heavy backer paper, so instead of trying to peel the backer paper off, peel off the front, and you'll be able to get that corner real quick.
Excellent.
So come back around here, take care of that.
Does this piece need to extend anywhere beyond the edge of the framing member?
No, just right straight back to the edge of the sill pan, and you're good to go. That's a great question, because some of you guys are going to ask on a 2x6 construction. This pan looks like it's built for 2x4. It's not built for the wall width, it's built for the window frame width.
Always remember, we are flashing the window, not flashing the open.
Exactly. So, because any water that gets in the system is going to drain around the window, come to the sill pan, and drain out to the surface. That's what we want to have happen. So if you have a 2x6 wall and you have wood beyond that, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because the water's not going to get back to that area. It's going to stay on the window frame and then find its way out. Okay, so now our sill pan is in place and we're ready to install the window, as long as we're using house wrap over OSB. If we were using a foam sheathing, taping the joints on the foam so you don't have to use house wrap.
Yeah.
Remember I said to you before, we've got this vulnerability right here between the sheathing and the jamb. What you're going to want to do is, before installing that window, you're going to want to take a piece of flashing tape and cover that vulnerability.
And that flashing tape is 6 inch, is that correct?
No, you can use 4 inch.
You can use 4 inch.
As long as, because all you're wanting to do is 2 inch and 2 inch. Just
2 and
overlap
2.
it. You're just sealing up that seam right there.
Excellent.
Exactly. Okay, so let's take the window and get ready to install it. Okay, Kirk, let's install this window. Ready?
Hold it, hold it.
Did we forget something?
Certainly did.
Do you know what we forgot? Yeah, you. What did we forget? Sealant. You're absolutely right. If we were really installing this window, we would want to use a sealant, high quality sealant, around the interior of that nail flange. We like Vulcan 116, high quality polyurethane sealant. You're going to want to put it on both sides and across the top. And now on the bottom, you got to be a little careful, because you put that sill pan in there, you're going to want the water to drain out if water gets to that sill pan. So if you were to seal all the way across, you wouldn't be able to allow that water to come out. So leave some gaps if you're going to put some polyurethane across the bottom. So now, again, assume we're all squared and level and all that kind of stuff. And oh, by the way, I'm only going to put one nail in here, but I don't want anybody to think that you can only use one nail to install a window by using our tape. So go ahead and nail it by the manufacturer's specification for the window.
What about shims, Robert?
Shims, great question. On the shims, to shim up the bottom of the window, you can do one of two things with that sill pan. You can either put some blocks. We've got some installers who put blocks on top of the sill and keep that window off the sill. Or they'll put shims underneath the sill pan. That also gives the sill pan just a little bit of an angle as well to allow the water to flow up. Great question.
The common sense would tell us, if we are using flat framing and not a tilted sill, that shimming underneath the pan would give it an angle to help it drain.
Yep. And you don't want that window to sit on that sill, because the chance of water getting in there is very good. We know that from experience. So lift that window off that sill so it doesn't sit in the water. Good? Ready to move on?
Got it.
Okay. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put some flashing tape on the sides. And quite simply, take your flashing tape. For a round top window, you're going to want to go up about 6 inches above, so there's some nice overlap. And again, just simply pull that release paper, get a nice stick to the nail flange first. And then go ahead and pull back so you've got a good seal. Kirk, you want to try that side?
How far up?
About 6 inches. Release that paper right along that nail flange.
Start here.
Yep.
It's pretty flexible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got some nice give. It's the poly facer on our butyl tape is really good. And by the way, we do use butyl, only butyl, with Dow for our tape. Butyl doesn't dry out. It also is very resistant to the water issues. The guys on the field have told me if it sticks, it stays. So you're not going to have that problem where you've gone and installed a window one day and the next day you come back and everything's peeling off the wall. Or you've got the 3 windows down and you look back and it starts to peel off the wall.
What's the temperature range?
You're going to want to be, like with anything, above freezing. And you can, if you have a difficult situation, Dow does allow for one of the 3M high performance spray adhesives to add some extra tack.
Okay.
So you do have that option. But the key is keep the tape warm.
Yeah.
Keep the tape warm.
Is it the temperature of the tape or the temperature of the substrate?
The temperature of the tape, but understand if it's 10 degrees outside, the tape's going to get cold real quick. So,
Gotcha.
that's the way it works. And you can always tack it in. The nice part about butyl tape too is it is tested so that if you were actually to puncture it over a cup of water and then turn the water upside down, it has to not drip around that.
It's
nail.
self-sealing.
It's self-sealing, exactly.
Gotcha.
Okay, good point. All right, so we've got our stop. Again, we're shingle fashion. Start at the bottom, working our way up. The last piece we need to do is our flex wrap. I'm going to have you grab me a ladder over there so I have a little bit of a better angle. What I like to encourage guys to do with the flex wrap is peel off about half of it to start with. This is what I found works real well. If you unpeel it all, I mean, maybe you're better than I am, but that's just too much to handle. Too much material. So I'm going to come up here, expose my window. I'm going to take that exposed area and I'm going to start right in the middle because I've got half of my tape exposed, right? And I'm going to start, again, by adhesing just to the nail flange. And I don't want to stretch it at this point. Don't stretch it when you start out on the inside of that circle because this is going to be, you're going to want the stretch when you start putting the tape out the rest of the direction.
If this was a 5-foot arch top, how many different pieces would you use? And if you start and stop with different pieces, you start at the top and work down, is that correct?
Single fashion, exactly. Preferably one piece. I mean, that would be the best thing. Again, if you only expose part of the tape at a time, it's a whole lot easier to handle.
Got it.
So I've got the first side stuck. I'm going to take this side again. I'm just going to let the top of the tape peel back. I'm going to.
And you may have caught it because I just misspoke. If you were using multiple pieces, your first piece would come up here. Your next piece would go over the top
I'm
of
sorry,
it.
you're exactly right. Exactly right. I misspoke as well. So I've got it stuck to the nail flange, and now you just start working it back. And this is where the flex wrap earns its name because it's going to want to stretch all the way around. Again, work its way over, so you don't stick it to itself because this stuff is sticky.
If you can do it with no wrinkles the first time, you've done very, very well.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Don't count on the second time being wrinkled. Okay, so we've got our flashing tape on top. We're going to take our house wrap and we're going to fold it back over the top of our tape. I'm going to cut around the window. Clearly, you're going to want that piece cut up. And you can go ahead and tack it down again through the butyl just fine by us because it's going to seal itself. And last touch is, again, I didn't mention this before, but on this we went up 45 degrees and then we went straight up. The reason we went straight up, again, it's all about physics. Water's going to flow. Gravity's always going to work, so water's going to flow down. You have a vertical seam. It's a whole lot more difficult for water to get behind that seam. And that's why Dow allows you, instead of using flashing tape, just to go over the top of it with construction tape.
Same tape that you've used on the joints of the house wrap, correct?
Exactly. And we've got it sealed up.
So are you done, Robert?
I think I'm done. Did I forget anything?
Yes, you did.
What did I forget?
I think we've got to finish sealing the window, is that correct?
Oh, that's absolutely right. And he's not talking about, just to be clear, a piece of tape across the bottom.
No.
Again, you put that tape across the bottom. I like to say to contractors, if they're not paying for a swimming pool, don't build them one. You tape that bottom of the window, they're gonna have a swimming pool on that windowsill, and it's gonna cause them problems. But do you know what else we forgot? When he's talking sealing, what did we forget to seal? Some of you might think that this window is done because you're going to have insulation installers come in behind you to do the rest of the job. Window is not done until you finish sealing this window. And what we're talking about is we want to take care of this space between your jambs and your window all the way around, including the bottom. This is where you do want to seal the bottom of your window. It's not sealed, otherwise wind could come all the way through. You've got to seal the bottom. And of course, we recommend industry leading Great Stuff Pro window and door foam. Are you going to be able to bow the window with this foam, Kirk?
I don't think so.
Not a chance. The only way you can bow this window is if you install this with a crowbar. Okay, so you take this, shake it up good, and seal up your window.
While Robert's doing that, I want to make sure everyone understands that the installation guides published by Dow Chemical give us installation guide on the house wrap, installation guide on the flashing system, and we provide these with every unit that is sold. Dow follows the industry standards. If your window manufacturer has a recommended installation process, make sure that you follow that also because you want to be able to maintain the window warranty from your manufacturer. We also know that using all these Dow products together earns you a 10-year warranty. What's that warranty all about, Robert?
10-year warranty. It's a limited warranty on materials, and it basically will last 10 years. In this industry, 10 years is significant.
Well, and we know that most water intrusion problems are going to show up much, much quicker than 10 years.
Absolutely. And the reason why we've convinced Dow to go with a 10-year warranty, and in fact it took a little convincing from the field, is that we know just how important it is to have products that are compatible with one another. So when you go with all one system, you've got a compatible system. When you go with this system, you know that these pieces are going to work together, and if you end up having a problem with any of the materials,
it's one call.
It's one call, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not going to finish the top, but there you go. And this is not going to expand with any kind of strength. If it expands beyond the window, you can just cut it off and you're good to go. I do want to point out, if you notice while I was spraying, is I didn't shove the straw all the way back into the wall cavity and try to fill that whole area. That's not important. It's not about how much foam you get in there, but that you bridge interior and exterior with the foam. If you put the foam all the way back there, you could end up with a problem. Again, think about our issue. We got water coming down, and maybe that flashing tape, or maybe the house wrap, or maybe there's something above the window. There's a tear or something that got missed. You got water running down, it gets to the window, and it starts flowing around. You shove foam all the way back in there.
It's got nowhere to go.
It's got nowhere to go. But, as we know, water is always going to find a way to go. Yeah. So if you don't leave a path to the exterior, it's going to want to find a path to the interior. So go ahead and seal the interior side, leave the exterior for water flow.
And that's why the sill pan installation and that corner piece to finish is so important.
Exactly. We take care of the window in two ways. We take care of it both by adhesion and by path of least resistance. so we give it a path to find its way back out to the surface.
I think we're done
I
now.
think we're done. Hope that all makes sense. If you got any questions, give Kirk a call.
Or find